Imagine this. You're sitting at your desk, you're trying to focus on that important report due tomorrow when suddenly the air becomes thick with tension. Your colleagues are locked in a heated argument over who moved the office plant without consulting the self-appointed chief greenery officer. It's the great ficus fiasco of 2025, and it's threatening to tear your office apart faster than a paper shredder on overdrive. Sound familiar? No? Well, why not? Ficus drama is on the rise, you know.
It's 2025, the ficus on the scene.
Office drama blowing up over who's going to keep it green. Leaves are dropping, tempers popping, it's a plant-based attack. Who's the boss of the moss? Better watch your back. Water wars in the break room. Can't let it deprive. We're here trying to make this ficus thrive. It's taking names and claiming fame, stealing the show, so grab your coffee, sit tight, let the good vibe flow. Don't snap under pressure, just join in the fun. It's a great ficus fiasco. Together we've won. Just raise your cup high, let's give it a clap. And this Levy showdown, we're bridging the gap. By the end of the video, you'll be equipped with the tools to navigate the workplace conflicts with the grace of a diplomat and the wit of a seasoned comedian. So grab your coffee mug, settle in, and let's embark on this journey to transform your office from a battleground to a bastion of civility. Oh, and I'm Thrive, by the way. I spent years in Fortune 500 companies as an HR manager and now as a professional business advisor. The anatomy of workplace conflict. Let's start by dissecting workplace conflict like we're performing an autopsy on a particularly disagreeable spreadsheet. Conflict, much like that mysterious leftover in the office fridge, comes in all shapes and all sizes. You've got your garden variety disagreements over project directions, the classic clash of personalities, as volatile as mixing oil and water in the break room sink, and the ever-popular who's stealing my lunch saga, Ted. But at the heart of it all, conflicts often boil down to a few key ingredients. Number one, poor communication. As clear as mud, as they say. Misaligned expectations, like expecting your manager to approve your request for a personal office water slide. What, it'd be great. Resource scarcity, when there's only one functioning printer and a line longer than a DMV on a Friday afternoon. Differing values, as compatible as a cat and a dog show. Now, before we dive deeper into the murky waters of conflict resolution, let's address the elephant in the room. Ignoring conflicts is not the answer. You have to face them head on. It might seem like a good idea at first, like it'll just blow over, but typically it just means it'll get worse. The art of acknowledgement. So the first step in handling workplace conflicts is to acknowledge that there's a conflict at all. It's like admitting you have a problem with hoarding sticky notes. Uncomfortable, but necessary for growth. Picture this. You're the captain of the HMS workplace, and you've just spotted an iceberg of conflict dead ahead. Do you, A, pretend it's just a very large, angry-looking ice cube and carry on, B, abandon ship and start a new life as a hermit in the Rockies, or C, face the problem head on and navigate your way to calmer waters? If you chose C, congratulations! You're already on your way to becoming a conflict resolution ninja. The Sherlock Holmes approach to conflict. Now that we've acknowledged the conflict, it's time to don our deer stalker caps and investigate. We need to gather information like we're collecting evidence for a case of the misplaced motivation. Start by having private conversations with involved parties. Think of it as hosting a series of very small, very intense coffee meetings. Listen carefully and resist the urge to interrupt, even if what they're saying is more ridiculous than suggesting pineapple belongs on pizza. As you listen, try to identify the root cause of conflict. Is it a simple misunderstanding, like thinking COB means cats on bicycles instead of close of business? Or is it a deeper issue, like feeling undervalued or overworked? The art of diplomatic discourse. Once you've gathered all the intel, it's time for the main event, the conflict resolution meeting. This is where the magic happens, or at least where we hope it does. Otherwise, we might need to call in a real magician to make the problem completely disappear. First, set some ground rules. These should be as clear as the instructions on a box of IKEA furniture, but hopefully more effective. Some suggestions. No interrupting. Let's take turns speaking, like we're passing around the last donut. Use I statement. I feel frustrated instead of you're as useful as a screen door on a submarine. Focus on the issue, not the person. Attack the problem. Don't attack each other, unless the problem is an actual person, in which case, please don't attack anyone, just contact HR. Next, have each party state their perspective. Encourage them to be as objective as weather app reporting on a sunny day. When this happens, I feel is much more productive than you're a complete muppet, and here's why. The Solomon approach. Finding middle ground. So now comes the tricky part. Finding a solution that works for everyone. This is where you channel your inner Solomon, minus the baby splitting suggestions. Start by identifying areas of agreement. Even if it's just, we both agree that Mondays are rubbish, it's a start. From there, work towards compromises that address everyone's concerns. Remember, a good compromise Compromise is like a good cup of coffee. It might not be exactly how everyone likes it, but it should be palatable for all. And if all else fails, there's always donuts. Donuts make everything better. Conflict resolution strategies. So let's dive deeper into some proven conflict resolution strategies, shall we? Think of these as your Swiss Army knife of workplace harmony. Collaboration. This is the superhero of conflict resolution. It's about working together to find a solution that satisfies everyone. It's like assembling the Avengers, but instead of fighting aliens, you're battling misunderstandings. Compromising. The art of meeting in the middle. It's like splitting a sandwich. You might not get the whole thing, but at least you're not going to go hungry. Accommodating. Sometimes keeping the peace is more important than winning. Like letting your coworker choose the radio station in the office, even if it means enduring hours of smooth jazz. What? I love jazz. Avoiding. While not always the best long-term strategy, sometimes a strategic retreat is necessary. It's like pretending you didn't see that reply-all email chain spiraling out of control. Competing. This is the winner-takes-all approach. Use this sparingly, like hot sauce. A little can spice things up, but too much can kind of burn bridges. The follow-up. Ensuring peace in our time. Once you've reached an agreement, don't just dust off your hands and declare the job done. Follow up like you're tracking a package containing the last coffee beans on Earth. Man, I really want some coffee. Schedule a check-in meeting in a couple of weeks. This isn't just an excuse for more coffee, although that's certainly a bonus. It's to ensure that the solution is working and that old resentments aren't festering like that forgotten sandwich in the back of the fridge. Conflict prevention. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Now that we've mastered the art of conflict resolution, let's talk about prevention. After all, it's better to avoid the fire than to be really good at putting it out. Communicate clearly. Be as transparent as a freshly cleaned window. No one should need a decoder ring to understand your emails. Set clear expectations. Make sure everyone knows what's expected of them. Do your best is not very effective, nor is it very helpful. Be specific. Foster a positive work environment. Create a culture where people feel valued and they feel heard. It's very hard to be mad at somebody after you've just had an amazing chat with them about last night's game. Address issues early. Don't let small problems grow into large problems. It's like dealing with weeds in your garden, much easier to handle when they're small. Conclusion. You're now a conflict resolution samurai. You've now journeyed with me through the treacherous waters of workplace conflict and emerged victorious, armed with the knowledge to transform your office from a war zone to a zen zone. Remember, handling workplace conflicts is a bit like making the perfect cup of coffee. It takes practice, it takes patience, and it takes the right ingredients. But get it right, and you'll create something that brings people together and makes the workday a little bit brighter. So go forth, spread harmony, and may the force of good communication be with you. And if all else fails, remember, there's nothing that can't be solved over a nice cup of coffee and a plate of donuts. But wait, dear viewers, before I dash off on my sugary showdown, let me leave you with one final morsel of wisdom. Remember, workplace conflicts often seems trivial to outsiders, but can feel monumental to those involved. The key is to approach each situation with a blend of empathy, logic, maybe just a dash of humor. It's all about perspective, communication, and perhaps a willingness to think outside of the Pop-Tart box, or in this case, outside the foil wrapper. I encourage you to take the lessons from this video and apply them to your own workplace challenges. Whether you're dealing with a disagreement over project timelines or a full-blown argument about the proper way to load the dishwasher in the break room, remember, with the right approach, any conflict can be resolved. Who knows? By this time tomorrow, you might be the office hero, the one who finally brokered peace between the reply-all enthusiasts and the only email when necessary faction. The possibilities, honestly, are endless. And on that note, I bid you farewell. Remember, in the grand scheme of things, most workplace conflicts are about as consequential as deciding whether a Pop-Tart is a cookie or a pastry. So approach them with good humor, an open mind, and maybe, just maybe, a willingness to agree to disagree. Until next time, keep your spirits high, your conflicts low, and your snack drawer well stocked. You never know when you might need to break out the emergency Pop-Tarts to diffuse a tense situation. Like if you like, sub if you sub, share if you share. I'm Thrive. Bye. It's a plant-based attack. Who's the boss of the moss? Better watch your back. It's a botanical chaos, Jack. Water wars in the break room.